goals in 2 minutes. 2-1 up, Preston Macedonia, and we've got an invasion on.
Crossfield ball for Tedeschi to try the spectacular. It's brilliant. Is it over the line? Yes. What's a goal from Alex Tedeschi?
Kukulevski, he scored. It's the winner. What a great goal by Kukulevski. The crowd has gone wild, ladies and gentlemen. The Preston Lions are the Premiership champions.
Cross ball at the back post. There it is. And is that the goal that takes them up?
Through ball for Spink. He's in the box. Back for Cole. Cole square. Here's a chance for Smith. Smith, yes, it's there. Spink, Cole, Smith. Smith doing the damage. 1-0.
Well, for one final time, we are back for the Lions Den, an end-of-season special with the man himself, the club president, Dave Cvetkovski. Dave, what a year. 4 trophies. Incredible.
Yeah, it's, I think, a week since we finished the season, and the girls won their championship on Sunday night. And once again, a great call, Josh. And we went into the 75th year. We knew it was going to be a big year. As a club, you know, we can say we've got all the plans and all the strategies. Now that the year's ended, to say, yeah, we had a plan, we had a strategy. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think in anyone's wildest imaginations that you'd think we'd have 3 premiership winning teams and the women's winning the 4th in the championship. Makes me a very proud president of this mighty club, and as I always say, you know, my theme all year, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be a part of this club. It's a privilege to be the president, to lead this club through the renaissance, and really looking forward to just absorbing the year at the moment. This week's just been, you know, I think last night many of our supporters would have seen the first cut of the poster that was going out. And I just sit there and I just look at all those amazing men and women in that photo and I go, what a contribution. What a contribution. How did you see it through your eyes, more importantly?
Well, I mean, I guess we'll start with the final on Sunday night at the Veneto Club, which was a sensational turnout, really, really good atmosphere, a really cracking contest between 2 teams that, as Dan Fodden said after the match, spoke really well in the presentations, that have actually driven each other to heights that they wouldn't otherwise be at. I mean, Boroondara have been, I guess, the benchmark against which we measure our women's program for some time. And obviously that changes next year going up to the top flight. But 2 programs who take the women's side of things very, very seriously and drive standards. And I think it was a fitting finale. It was an arm wrestle of a game. You know, could have had a couple of goals in the first half, a couple of misses, a couple of great saves from the Boroondara keeper. It was, super tight, quite nervy. But then I think it was almost written in the stars for Hayley Mercedes to grab a goal. She was so frustrated with her record.
1 metre tapping. 1 metre tapping.
I mean, if she'd missed that, I would have believed her that she genuinely was cursed.
Yes.
But the curse is broken now.
Curse is broken.
In the biggest game, it was just you couldn't have scripted it better, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, just a great group of women at both the senior team level and the reserves, led by Daniel and Sarkis. It's the culture that they've built is turned them into the flagship of our club. It's phenomenal to see the football world had come out in the last few weeks to watch our women's program, and we had reps from different sporting bodies out there, and as a president coming up and the way they represented the brand and the product that we've built is something for us to all be proud of. The amount of our junior girls that came out with their parents to watch makes me really proud. Yeah, when you got your junior girls looking up and aspiring and coming with their kit down to Bulleen with their parents is that's where we want to go as a club. That's what we stand for.
I was super impressed with some of the banners as well, the homemade banners that were brought to the game.
Yeah, I still think Livy was paying people off. I said, Livy, you got $100 for me and I'll hold one of your banners. But
I mean, there's the Preston 2022 Championship banner.
Yes.
I reckon we should do Prince of the Liv Edwards fan club as well. But
we're very careful with our money at Preston, and I must say that 2022 Championship banner got, I think, 4 uses out of it. So it was probably the best investment we made all year was to get that. I think it got washed down after everyone, either with champagne or with a sponge, and we've kept that. And we also got all the ladies to sign the official championship banner that was given to the club on Sunday. So I think that'll take pride of place in here as we start to. I think you'll see the hallway out here. Chris Turpos has done a magical job in starting to curate a lot of our pennants from the past. So I think as you look around these walls and we begin to populate them with pieces from our history and from our current success, that's what brings this place to life. Because as you know, we moved in here pretty quickly in February. We really rushed to get things just operational post the shutdown, and to build this, to get in here in February and to deliver in our 75th year the successes on and off the field. It's a nice way to celebrate this year.
there was another banner at the game that I really liked, which is the "We Love Neve" poster. 15-year-old on the bench got some good minutes in the championship game, which is an amazing story. Fantastic to have a teenager playing at that level, and I think the way that the reserves group, obviously lifting their own title as well, but got around one of their own who's made such huge strides this year and started to break into the senior setup is magnificent.
Yeah, and that's where our program needs to go. When you look at Neve and the impact 15-year-old Zamzam had in that first Burundara clash where she came on and saved the penalty in her first game. We're going to continue to back in some of these young kids that are coming through the system, and the same at the senior men's level. We need to keep backing these kids in. And we'll talk a little bit more, I'm assuming, around the football program and Sasha a little bit later on. But we've been rebuilding that part of our club, and we will start to reap the rewards in the next few years, as we did this year. Daniel's got a great eye in bringing some young kids in. We've got a very strong girls team with Bill at 15 and at 13 level, which is very good. There's some really good young kids, let alone at the sub-10 group. We've got a lot of girls sub-10s with some really good coaches, and I love coming out and watching them, and it's a pleasure to watch these young girls turn into young teenagers to women and watch their growth, because from the success this year, I think it was 7 years ago, the under-16s team was one of the first teams we had at junior level, and they went undefeated, and I think 4 or 5 of those players ended up winning an under-16s championship and going through to making a contribution this year. Most of them in the Resis team, but to also win themselves a second championship at a senior level. We've got some work to continue to do, but we're on the right track.
Is the demographic of the club changing? Be that supporters, players?
It's going to be something we need to continue to focus on as we build this product. Our club is very proud of our heritage and our history, but I think I'm prouder of the diversity that we have amongst the people coming through all levels of our club, be it juniors, women's, and the men's program. If you look at the cultural diversity, which we're measured on, we are measured on the cultural diversity. When we go in to speak to councils or governments, one of the first things they ask are, what are your metrics? And metrics obviously flow down from gender. And then we can get very specific in saying even the nationalities, the 75% makeup of the backgrounds of the juniors. being majority non-Macedonian. That's phenomenal for us. If you look at the makeup of the senior team this year, from the captain, in captains in James Harron, who's I think half kind of English, half Australian, and I don't know what the other half is with Jimmy, to Benji, who we're all so proud of, a very proud Indigenous boy who's also got Greek heritage, captaining this great club. And right through, this year we had the Bosnian boys in here. Got Connor coming in from Newcastle. I think we've got some Serbian boys in there, some Croatian boys. It's a real good melting pot across all levels of our club, and that's where we need to be as a club to represent our broader community.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about the men's championship and that day at Box Hill. You saw one of the goals fly into the net from close range.
Yeah, it was. I got there early. I watched the resis, and then for the supporters that were out there, I couldn't stand in one spot, so I think I did laps. Although you couldn't get behind coach's box, I think I walked most of the game, and a lot of people say, "Hey, Dave, what do you do when you get to the games?" One eye is on the game, but another eye is on what I call our product, and that's the Preston brand. And I'm so proud of the way we've carried the Preston brand over the last couple of years, because that's what we're measured on. And our supporters have been phenomenal. They're the talk of not Victorian football. And I just got back from Sydney last night. I was up in Sydney as well. And I had a couple of footballing meetings up there as well. But we're the talk of Australian football. You can't buy crowds, you can't buy passion, and you can't buy what we have. And I'm so proud of the way our club continues to build and show up. And walking around, I think I thought, to be honest, I usually like just checking in with my dad. And my whole life every game I've gone to with my dad, and my daughters were there, and I usually check in with them. And I just lost track of them, and I thought, where are they? And I'd noticed they were on the grandstand side. I thought I'd walk behind the goal that we were going to and just check up on our supporters, say hello to them, just check in as we were going past, which is what I do a lot of the games. And as I was walking past, I was behind the net, and I just looked up, and all I could see, 1-0, was the ball, and I just could clearly see the ball going into the net. And I've seen Chris, and clearly it's come off Chris, and you've seen the opposition cameraman's taken a photo of me. It's done like this, and the goalkeeper's looking at me. I just roared. The emotion that's built up in running this club, and I can be honest, at the moment, is just it's like nothing you experience. It's like nothing you experience, because you do, as a committee, what a superb committee. We carry the responsibility, the weight on our shoulders with a lot of the decisions we have to make, and I just hope the supporters out there just are grateful to this committee. We've got members that have been on there that, not many people would know for 8, 9 years, 10 years of service, volunteering for their club, and putting in some big hours, having to make the hard calls when they need to be made. We're not always going to be right. Not everyone needs to be right, but we'll back those decisions. We had a couple to make this year as we got through the games, but behind Chris Davies, and it was probably a relief at 2-0. You go there and you just worry. You go, oh, what if?
Because you haven't spent much of your time actually watching the games this season. You're buzzing around, as you say, the ground.
Yeah,
and
you
so
buzz
forth.
around. I'll usually sit down and I'll watch. I've had some good times out here and the home games. I'll try and sit down, but you're just looking around, watching, whether it be our supporters or opposition supporters, just making sure everyone's having a good time in your role. And I think we spoke about the Melbourne City game. We're in here mopping up the sewage, and no one knew what was going on. It's just what you have to do, and most people wouldn't notice or know that most of the committee don't watch the game. Between the Robs, Alex, and Steph running the food department here, and CFO Dorbe, who's just amazing from a compliance and fiscal sense, managing the money that moves through the club and how we have to account for it. The grounds people, everyone knows their job. From walking in, the lights are on, the safeguards are on. It's just a credit to everyone. But yeah, great 2-0 and then 3-0, and then the reality kicks in, the reality and the emotion. And for me, I'm pretty frank with you. When I at 2-0 went around, and we don't know too much to too many people in our lives. But when I look at my dad and he just, gives me that head nod, and I've got to be careful here that I maintain my composure. And you look at your daughters, look at Kayla was there, and you get a hug. That's what it's about for every supporter out there, sharing it with that special person or people before, as it was just beautiful. And we're playing music. The music was banging on. Just sitting there. It was just like perfect. It was perfection.
It was.
It was like 25 minutes of just bliss, soaking it in. I was standing next to Carl's parents and had a hug with his mum. It was a nice way to finish it versus some of the more edgier calls. And I always reflect. On this standard. I haven't been in here,
goes off.
but I reflect on the Geelong game here, and I'll never forget the 2018 Geelong game. And we stayed back here to very, very late that night. There was some strong emotions, but as much as it hurt, it sometimes builds strength in the character of people around. And I sat there with Lou, and there's some other people, Kappa was around. We just looked at each other and go, we're going to come and learn from this. And I had a very good footballing discussion in Sydney. And the discussion was around the journey that Preston's been on and the importance of promotion and relegation. Yes, it would be fantastic if we had have automatically been in whatever the highest league with a capped roof there, playing every year for nothing. But I think it's allowed our club over the last 3 to 4 years, the fact that we've had to claw and scratch and get through the leagues of State League, MPL 3, we get into MPL 2, it's consolidated us and strengthened us as a club to have to aspire and drive ourselves, rather than maybe just saying we're in a league, and I'll refer to it MPL 1. There's no movement out. There's only one way down, and what are you really winning?
Yeah, I mean, when people ask me, I get a lot of questions about how have Preston brought all these fans back, because so many of the clubs are trying to recapture their fan bases from back in the glory days. And I say, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but part of it is I think the people have bought into the redemption arc of this club and the sort of Phoenix story of rising through the divisions and coming back from the brink is actually, I think, a core part of what people hold dear about Preston now is like we nearly lost this.
We're fighters, we're battlers, and we won't have it any other way. Our community, our people, and this club will always, we'll continue to fight for our beliefs and what we stand for, and nothing comes easy. I'd rather it doesn't come easy. Quite often it's Preston's fault, and Preston this and that's magic. It's magic to have that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that every other club hates us. And you know what? There hasn't been a president this year that I don't call on a Monday, a week ahead of the game, and organise our game for the following week and create rivalry. I want to create rivalry. I want to create rivalry in whatever league we go to, because that's the value that this club can bring. And if every other club in Victoria, Australia can create rivalry with us and match our product so that we've got 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, and we're sharing in this footballing ecosystem and sharing the benefits of it, I think that's going to make the game better. Box Hill. George, the president of Box Hill, called me the week before. He called me the week after thanking the Preston supporters, because that's going to help George at Box Hill develop some young kids and put some of that money that these great Preston supporters spent there that day. We probably had over 2,000 people. The Souvlaki lines, the Kepapi lines, the drink lines, miles long. You know, they're Preston supporters. And the whole football community is talking about that, and it's going, hang on, what are they doing? We're not doing anything special. We're just showing up. We're showing up to back our club. We're creating a footballing economy, and that we're willing to share it wherever we go. We're very proud of that. And I think for football to continue to get better in this state and in this country, it's about creating good rivalries. It's creating good rivalries. And, you know, I'm not embarrassed. I'm very proud to say I probably speak to most of the presidents from other clubs. I reach out regardless of the enemy, you know, and I probably now start to call people around the league's friends. You know, I've got no issues. We had a great rivalry that we're probably going to miss in some parts with North Sunshine this year.
Yeah.
I'd speak to Mem on a Monday. We'd have to go through the processes. You know, Melbourne Victory won't be in our league next year, so therefore games with less headaches for us. But we're going to miss them. You know, miss that rivalry. But we're going to create new rivalry, and I've already, you know, my good mate Lou Toner at Pascoe Vale. He's coming up with all these concepts on how Preston Pascoe Vale games can become the new rivalry. You know, and my good mate Peter Georgopoulos at Brunswick, he's going, oh Dave, you know, how are we going to create the rivalry? And that's what it's about. So all of our supporters get out. We're here for the game. Yeah, we always want to win. I always want to win. I don't like losing. And this year we're probably blessed.
Yeah.
But sometimes we might lose, and we need to be sporting in the way we lose as well as the way we win.
Well, on that note, I think I want to thank everybody who has showed up this season, to whatever level or whatever game it is. They've created some really special memories, some really special nights and occasions that we've had this season that, you know, will last forever, and they've been immortalised in some of the best photos I've ever seen. Shout out to Matt for an incredible
he's
job.
actually up for some awards. We've put him up for some
he's a Les
awards.
Shorrock nominee.
Les Shorrock nominee
night.
for Gold Medal Night. So that Gold Medal Night is on Monday, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But to all the supporters, there's no words that can describe what you mean to this club and the way the rest of the football world is responding and acknowledging, watching what we're doing, and the way we've rebuilt the brand and the experience of the supporter from all age groups, across all age groups. Yeah.
Thank you for supporting the club this year. I think we're going to take a little break, and we'll get down to business, shall we? Future plans. What's going down in the years to come? David Cvetkovski, the club president, is with me here on the Lions Den. We'll be back after the break.
Electrical Connectivity Australia is a leader in the electrical industry and specialises in matters of a domestic, commercial and industrial nature. Please contact Igor Georgievsky for any of your electrical needs on 03 933 0433 or visit www.ecapl.com.
Genesis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication, from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication, through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genissteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
MS Designer Living specialise in architectural design and construction of new homes, unit developments, extensions, renovations and commercial buildings. They are located at 14 to 19 Enterprise Drive, Bundoora, and can be contacted on 03 94 67 6954. MS Designer Living.
You're listening to The Lion's Den on FNR Football Nation Radio.
We're back on the end of season special here on the Lions Den. Josh Parrish here with Dave Cvetkovski, the club president. We've reminisced, we've got misty-eyed about the achievements of the year, which has been a very, very special one. We've been blessed with the achievements of our senior teams in particular has been incredible. But the people want to know what's on the horizon, what infrastructure improvements are we making, how are we reinvesting in the teams, what's in it for Preston in the future, what leagues are we going to be playing in? There's some big questions.
One at a time, mate.
And I think we'll try and get to as much as we can. You'll say as much as you can at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Firstly, this senior men's team, Louis Atsevsky locked in once again, looking to lock in some of the key players for next season and reward this squad that's performed so well.
Louis Atsevsky locks himself in. And to any of the supporters out there, we don't find people like Louis Atsevsky. And a lot of people out there probably don't know that he doesn't actually take a paycheck most weeks. He puts it back into this club. And I won't go into the sum of money that he spends, his own money, into this club. That's something that...
And it's not just Rakia.
It's not just... Yeah, that's a whole different economy that he... our Wednesday nights. But 6 years at the club, going into 7 years, he's an auto lock. People just don't understand the amount of work that he puts into this club on and off the field, not at the senior men's level, junior level, working on the infrastructure projects with councils. It's just relentless, and we are simply blessed. We are simply blessed with a man who's so passionate and driven to deliver 11 wins with his soldiers in a row. That's something special, and
I mean, he's sort of Preston Sir Alex in a lot of ways, isn't he?
Yeah, and it fascinates me. I study the art of people. I'm surrounded in my businesses with people and a little bit of psychology, and I'm going to say it. The first half of the year, I know what the man does and how he goes about building his teams, and we had some draws and we had a loss, and that's when you really assess the characters of people and of our supporters. And probably one blip on my radar this year was some of the responses of our supporters and our people to that Box Hill loss. We're going to lose some games, but let's back ourselves in, and let's not just smash people or slap people on the back and give them hugs and kisses when it's going well. It's the true character for me. And resilience is when you're being challenged and people back you in. And we'll back each other in. And I've had the pleasure of catching up with a couple of people who wanted to give me some direction after the Box Hill game. As a committee, and this committee is absolutely superb, we weren't going to take a sidestep in terms of the direction we're going in, and the man who's at the helm who will take us on that journey. And he's proven that, Championship 2019, to rebuild two teams, 2020, 21, top of the league, players come and going with COVID.
Best laid plans going
Best laid
awry
plans, and then to rebuild another team and win a championship in 2022, come on.
On the back of 11 straight wins,
Yeah.
with probably the strongest competition across those 3 years that we were ever going to face, in terms of the teams around us strengthening as well.
And let's remember these players. They are human. They have emotion. They have lives. Many of them in the last 2 years, many of them were here in Australia or trying to get out of Australia through what I'm hoping we never go through in our lives before. They're human, and Lou had to deal with that because he looks his players in the eyes and he's got great relationships with them and has to care about them as humans first. So there's a lot of stuff that's inner sanctum that people don't know about, that he deals with and that we deal with as a club, and we'll back ourselves in each and every day. I mean, the Connor Bell story. I won't go into the details. That's for Connor to tell his story. What a man, what a human Connor Bell. To be able to go, I think Lou got the call during the night. No one knew. We didn't want it to get out there with a week to go in Box Hill that our best player was in hospital. No one knew. No. Connor knew, and Connor was a part of the plan. He said, boys, I'm in hospital, I won't swear, get the job done. Lou was probably working with Connor and the hospital all night post the Ballarat game here. It was an innocuous challenge on Connor. Connor cops that 12, 15 times a game. But just in this occasion, the position, it caused some major damage for the kid. And to go into the hospital on Sunday morning and see, a great human, a player who's put it all on the line here for our club, and to have to work through that the whole week. People don't see that. They don't need to see it. But we had a plan, and our plan was to try and keep it as quiet as we can in Preston World so that the opposition didn't realise till very late that, your best player's there. And as Lou would say, well, that's why we build the squad. That's why we build the depth. And that's why, as he would say, I sign 500 players a year to back it in. But he's just, first player locked in. Kappa sits right behind him, and big fella Sasha's part of coaching committee with Sinisha. We've also already so for all the supporters, and it's probably good for the supporters to know, before the last round was finished, Box Hill, all these locks were done. They're all signed. The players' evaluations were done, and players that we're entertaining from our current squad staying next year were all signed. Those discussions have happened, will continue to happen where we need. And the new players we have signed that we'll keep close to our chest, they've all been signed. That's Lou's done that stuff, and you kind of have a giggle because sometimes I go, close your eyes. Josh, you didn't see that player in, I think there was such a case tonight. I said,
Yes.
Josh, you didn't see who was in that room. So, but
I saw Lou in business mode.
yeah, so we're looking to build a team beyond the NPL divisions. So the players that we've signed are on 2-year contracts, pro contracts, which is the first time we've done that in a long time, to protect the players and to also protect the club and to build a pipeline of talent. And it's a very young team. It's a very young team. If you take out the fact that we kind of have Butker roaming around the club from a culture perspective, Sash coaching, it's actually a very young team that we've built, especially when you look at young Jack Bozanovsky that came in over at 20 and a half, 21 years of age. Profile. So we're building a team from a talent perspective. I think most teams should have a 25% freshen up at the end of most seasons. That's our philosophy, that we need to bring new energy, bring new players in, and be honest with some players who probably need to maybe get game time elsewhere or see new environments. That's just football. And Lou's pretty honest, and Kappa's pretty honest, and the coaching team. So to that point, I think, and I've had this conversation, we need to, Lou going into his 7th year, he needs to have a bit of a freshen up. He's got the most beautiful family that he needs to spend a little bit of time on freshen up, because the season will start in February next year. So to all the supporters,
It's an earlier start.
26 rounds. We'll go early, and we're preparing for that.
Because the division has expanded
Correct.
NPL2 to 14
teams. 14 teams. So we'll have 26 home and away games starting in February, which will be a nice start for us out here. So the planning hasn't stopped. Blue, we're going to give him a little bit of time off. So Sasha and Kappa we'll take some of the segments pre-Christmas, enable him to freshen up. It'll be interesting to see if he stays away. So I'm actually trying to put him on a plane and send him up to have a bit of a holiday a couple of times. So
confiscate his phone,
Yeah, so we need to freshen up from that perspective. So we will gather again November 23 as a senior group next Friday night. To all the supporters, get your tickets and get into the gold or our medal night next Friday. Is it Sarah Sands, September the 9th? The tickets are on sale. And
Sydney Road,
pack out the house. I think it's 4 hours, beer, wine, soft drink and all the food and a spirits package. $100 a head. Get in there, 8 to 12, and then we've got license and DJs that can kick on. Bar will open from 12 to, I think, 2, 3. We'll kick on to celebrate the year. And this Monday, I will come back. I'm heading back up to Sydney tomorrow, but I'm back Monday night for the Football Victoria Gold Medal Awards. And Preston has a table of 10, and we have some of our players up for awards. So Connor will be up for the top goal scorer award. So he
shared that with McPhee from Nunawading.
Yep.
So
and then Chris, I think he's up for the goalkeeper of the year award. Hopefully Lou's up for coach of the year award. And I think there's a couple others in there. I think Noah and Chris were shortlisted or something like that as well. So we're going to take a whole suite of the boys and suit up on Monday. This is the first time we've gone to these awards because it's held at NPL level. And then next Friday we'll have our own medal night where we'll be issuing the Sash Ognanovsky medal for the best and fairest, the Di Pikolovsky medal for the women's best and fairest, Steve Smith's and Warren Spink top goal scorer award, and the George McMillan and Lube Petrovsky award for club person of the year. Remembering we haven't done that for a couple of years. So we will, we'll honour our own and make it a super night. So any supporters, come out. It's going to be a nice crescendo to the year next week.
Yeah, next Friday week. So, don't come tomorrow.
That's enough on the men's program. Anything else you don't know?
Well, I think we should segue to some national second division chat in a bit, but maybe we'll talk women's first.
Yes. Yep.
Obviously, Dan has grand plans for how this team is going to compete.
No different. Dan has been talking to the girls. Dan has been talking to new players. We will go into the National Premier League, up where this club belongs and playing with the best women's team. And it is a very competitive league. And I know, once again, the opposition up there are looking forward to having us. Maybe some not, but we'll go up there and we're looking once again to represent our brands. I'm not in this game just to field teams out there. This club, this committee, if I look at Vice President Dougie, we'll go for it. We're going to go for it. We'll give it our best crack. We'll give it our best crack at men's and women's. Again, that's the formula we hope we've put in place and will continue to deliver with the backing of these great supporters out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting year, actually, in NPLW next year, just speaking as an observer of the league, I suppose, because with Western United coming into the A-League Women, a lot of the colder program are getting snapped up by that because it's an associated team, and there is quite an overlap between seasons. So the dominant force in NPLW will have to give some of their players a break post-season, and that almost opens up the top of the table a little bit. It's going to be a shifting landscape, I suppose.
Daniel is meticulous in his planning and believes that a lot of the traditional W League players dropping down to teams, the impact of them dropping down won't be as strong as past years. So the plan would be to continue to build on the squad we've got. Once again, he's got a super squad out there that and we showed in the Night Cup. Heidelberg fielded a full game, full team, and I think we'd had a game that week as well, and we were 3-3 at full time, went into extra time or whatever it was, and got pipped at the post there. But the game was entertaining. We can take it to them, and if we can add, and Daniel will add another 3 or 4 players, but look at the players that he brought in this year. And
tell me about it.
And let's remember this program 5-6 years ago was we weren't where we needed to be, And there was only one person we owed this to, and that was Di Pikolovsky, who celebrated, we all know she celebrated 23 years here this year. But to look that girl in the eyes 6 years ago, this club doesn't owe too much to people, but we owed it to that girl to win her a championship and for her to participate in that feeling of winning at this club and wearing that Guernsey. It was just looking at those photos, and
there's one in particular of her with the trophy kind of punching the air, which is almost an end of the Breakfast Club kind of vibe, but it was, I was just thinking that sums it up perfectly.
And she went on the junior. I spoke to her, it was six years ago, 17, late 17, and I said, Di, this is not where it needs to be. We need to make some fundamental changes. There's no trials. There's no, reward. There's no mechanisms in place. The people had done the best job they could till that time, and we just put in the right mechanisms, process, and then the right people. You put the right people in, whether it's in life, in business, or in football. If you've got the right people in the right positions, usually you'll come out the other side. So, we go right back to Luca Finanzio and Saki's coming in and making the changes, and then Daniel coming in. And the players, look, Kiwa.
I mean,
Kiwa.
my
Miri
co-commentator,
Makadonka.
it was the first time she'd seen Preston in the flesh, and I had to help her pick her jaw up off the floor, I think.
I was in awe. Sunday was just end-to-end football, as you described earlier, and you watch Livy Edwards on the left-hand side, and the way she attacks the ball in the air, on the ground, right through to the Sanya was brilliant in the centre defence. You got the Fanua sisters who just are the backbone of your team, right through then to Hayley on the right, or Rachel Sturton, top goal scorer, just banging them in. She went around the left to whip it in for Hayley to get onto it, but then just having that polish of Kiwa being able to run it out of your defence and almost score. Or Miri Makadonka, as the Radevsky Cool Stores families adopted her and taught her. 730 plus metre goals this year. I think that's my count on it, and it's just entertainment. I've been very fortunate because of my daughters. I don't miss a game, and a lot of people go, "Oh, Dave, what are your weekends like?" And I go, "Well, I've got no choice between watching the senior men's, the reserves." The two women's games, and then my little one plays in the under-14s girls, and then if I pick up tonight there's under-18 boys out here, so I'm sitting with Big Sasha watching. I think they were 2-0 up before I came in here, and that's with the blessing of my wife. Why? Because I've got two daughters here, so I'm very fortunate in that. My family's here, and so many friends are here. It's a nice place to be. So the women's team is looking good. The changes will be at the reserves level.
That's something I wanted to ask you about, because it's under 19s reserve teams in NPLW in the top flight.
We're already been inundated, so the plan will be to build a squad from 15 years of age. So the way we look at our talent, and I'll keep talking about that this evening, is at a 19s level, having the best 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that we can put through the program, as we did this year in the men's, with the 21s all being a sub-18s age, the under-18s being pretty much 17, 16, 15-year-olds, which we're seeing the fruits of our labour, because we've signed 5 of the under-21 boys to senior contracts. So they'll train pre-season, and we'll have some more news on that, on the boys that we've signed from our existing squad. And many of you saw the debuts later in the season. That's what I'm most proud about. People go, "What are you proud about?" I go, "Well, it's the Zams, it's the Neves, it's standing there and watching young Jackson make his debut." His father's as cool as a cucumber, and his mum's just got the video camera. She's just worried about every move. So we have a bit of a giggle. We're long-term friends with the family, so it's just nice to see the kids coming through here.
100%. Has there been any thought of trying to keep the group together that's no longer eligible for Resis?
Yeah, so I have gone to the FE and asked them whether we can have an additional community team, a senior state league kind of level. So they
As the motion controls.
yeah,
turn black again.
they'll get back to us. So it's daily. This club is no longer just it's every day. It's every day. It's every minute of the day. It's the amazing committee. Just it doesn't end. It hasn't ended. It won't end. The amount of work that needs to be done just to present this place, and we'll do it. We're not scared to do it. But at the same time, the committee needs a little bit of a rest, and we'll be looking to organically make some changes. We need to make some strategic changes to be able to achieve and deliver on the strategy over the next critical couple of years. And we've got the right people. You were privy to the advisors meeting 5-6 weeks ago. We invited 30 of our prominent and key advisors from all realms of the business world, professional world in. Which table were you on?
I was on the media marketing table.
They came up with a great poster last night. So we've got some great people that we rely on that a lot of people out there wouldn't know. These people don't want, they just go about doing their job and supporting us. I'll get calls from a lot of people weekly. They're all got their own fields of expertise that we need, from law to finance to fiscal to football to infrastructure, and we'll continue to do that. But we need to keep building strength in the board as we confront the challenges and the opportunities of the next 12 to 24 months.
And everyone in that room has their own little area of expertise that they can contribute.
Yeah.
It was actually fantastic to see it kind of in action. I've since had meetings with guys who are helping us redo our graphics and things, because we're not going to be in the 75th year next year. A complete fresh redesign.
There's 5-6 of you just working on brand.
Yeah.
Brand, social media. People out there don't know that we've got 5-6 people volunteering. These people are volunteers. So I've seen the full brand palette for next year. The committee meets next Tuesday, so we're going to need to start working on the jersey options for next year. We need to book all that in and get ready whilst we're doing everything else around here from an infrastructure plan. So we met with council last week to look at the current infrastructure and assets and what we need to do from a sewing, ground maintenance. Clearly ground 1 has been tip-top this year, but we'll get some work done on it, and then ground 2, ground 3 is our focus.
Because we had a number of training sessions with the juniors late
ground
in the year.
2, yeah, ground 2 is Wembley in summer, but it just deteriorates. So, and we think we've gotten down to why and how we can re-sow some grass in there and do some drainage and stuff. So we're working with council on 2 and 3, and we're continuing to lobby. It's an ever-going process to lobby the required politicians, government bodies for ground 4 to hopefully for us to get funding in the next couple of years for the synthetic ground. We need a synthetic ground. This is just I think a lot of our juniors have spent time at RMIT and everywhere else during the and we've absolutely pounded ground 1. And it's maintained it. So most of our kids have played on ground 1 most of the year. Yeah. Their games on Sundays, and it's held up well. But we just got to be careful with our assets and our infrastructure. Clearly, this place is finished, and this is great. But we've also got to turn the pavilion and the event space into some type of revenue earner. We've got a great little function room in there. We've had some functions. We've trialled it this year. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic with the people and our resources to not burn our volunteers out. So we're just trying to get the right balance out there. And anyone out there that wants to put their hands up and come and join us, please come and have a coffee with me. Get an understanding of it. Don't just say, oh yeah, I joined not understanding. Some of these guys are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week on top of their jobs here at the club. And it's all volunteering. They have a special skill set. The AGM, we're probably looking at putting in the middle of November before pre-season starts to be able to report. One thing we're proud of, from top down is our fiscal responsibility, the management, and our compliance around reporting. So we'll do that with our supporters and outline the plans. And And I'm hoping to be able to, by then, maybe also roll out some information sessions for all of our supporters to come in, whether it be in here or there. We love the old social club. We might even do it in the old social club, just a Q&A, Q&A, set expectations like you. And this is the reason, we do this with you, Josh, is to be able to communicate openly, transparently, the strategy, where we're at. Because I think you started probably with the National Second Division, and I think I've gone around it. Have I?
We've segued slightly.
So National Second Division, and we'll go then. That's going to be, that's the importance of what the AAFC and the FA are going to come up with in the next short period of time. We are participating in the meetings we're required to go to. We have all the information we need, and we're also being very careful in terms of not overcommitting, assessing and analysing the proposition when it comes up. So we're expecting, I think Nicolaus is the head of the AFC was on FNR last week with Lockie, gave a lot of good insight in terms of when the league could potentially start late next year, big October 23 or early the following year, and the powers that be at the FA will determine that, what kind of league it's going to be, what makeup, how many teams, and from which locations. And the locations are very important because of the fiscal modelling that's got to go into teams flying around the country. That will all be linked to, I'm assuming, some type of licensing fee, licensing agreement. So we'll assess all information as it comes in. We have a team. We have got a very strong team that will probably we might announce later in the year what we're calling our advisory board, dedicated to reviewing the proposition that will be. It probably won't be called a National Second Division or B League or anything like that.
No,
the branding guys are on it. I know that. But just for all the supporters out there, please feel free to come up and speak to us. We are being cautious in terms of not over-promising, over-committing, but we will represent this club in the best possible way. But the way we're going about it at the moment, it's pretty compelling. It's pretty compelling when you look at the facility, the infrastructure, you look at the product, and you look at the supporter base. That supporter base is just gold. And there's a lot of other clubs out there going, oh, jeepers, what are we going to bring as our proposition to this new division?
I mean, I think that the value proposition that Preston represents to this new competition, well, in my mind, is obviously biased point of view here. But what do you see as the compelling factor behind Preston putting ourselves forward? What is the potential opportunity here?
It's our ability to participate and contribute to the footballing ecosystem. To be able to play in this league, we're going to need to bring something, not only for our supporters, but for all the other clubs in creating those relationships and the rivalry, whoever they may be, whether it's NPL1 or whether it's this B League, for their supporters to all come here and have a great experience, chant and create that rivalry. We hope we win most of the battles. We are going to lose some, as I've said all night, but it's about creating that rivalry and creating a compelling proposition in Melbourne, potentially, if it expands into the other states. Imagine the Preston supporters travelling to Sydney, travelling to Brisbane, travelling to Wollongong, travelling to Adelaide, Perth, wherever this league, the opportunity. Imagine us being able to, I'm in a fortunate position. My uncle actually owns a charter, and he's already said, mate, I'll fill the planes. We'll have dedicated. He's actually got a red plane, and I've always said to him, how good would that red plane look with a Preston logo on it? If we fill it with a charter and you have the players flying in one plane and the supporters on another plane. Because if you divvy up the expenses even of a charter, it's actually probably not that far off. Your commercial flights here, we have to wait around at the moment. So imagine Preston planes. Jeebus, I'm dreaming now, but why not? Let's dream, because we have aspirations. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we with the people we've got, with the supporters, with the players, with the coaches, with the product. It's our product. It's Preston.
So I have conversations with skeptics of this sometimes. And they say, oh, well, all of these NPL clubs, think they're bigger than they are. They're, they're Icarus flying too close to the sun. Why don't you just focus on getting your own house in order before, going national?
Yeah.
But I also think it's a way to actually grow the sport, to have another national competition and not have this country, so I guess the football ecosystem in this country so severed.
Yeah,
it's a way for the game to actually grow to its full potential, and Preston wants to be a part of that.
I love just listening to you, Josh, and seeing it through your eyes, because sometimes we can be biased, and you're a astute footballing person. So, the football needs a new ecosystem, and does football need Preston or Preston types of clubs? I think we do. Look at the Australia Cup and the success of it, of these clubs that, I think Oakley
I was there
beat Sydney
last
yesterday.
night.
Congratulations to them. What a great win.
Amazing.
What does it just? It just gives us all, we can play. If Cvetkovski builds a team and takes them out there, they're not going to die wondering with a full squad. And that's a part of our plan. Our focus has been in the last few years, let's focus on the divisions. It was very important for us to deliver success at State League and MPL 3 League. And it was hard to find that balance where you got injured players and stuff to field the strongest of FA Cup, Australia Cup teams. And I think that's something next year we'd like to give a better crack at, and to continue to put our brand on the map. But I think there needs to be more than football, because what happens on a hypothetical, whether it be next year, next couple of years, if there's only NPL 1 to aspire to, and you get into this league and, you're in there and it's a nice league to be in, if you get relegated, you leave, or if you win it, what do you get? You get a trophy. So I think we need to create a pyramid that's a bit more connected. And it won't happen overnight. No. I don't think football in Australia is ready for us to go, promotion relegation into the A-League. That's not going to happen, guys. Let's not kid ourselves for a long, long time. But maybe it is a platform that the clubs, if they do get it right over the next 5, 8, 10, maybe 12 years as the growth of this game, because me and you have spoken about the growth of the game and the platforms that you're so involved in, the popularity. Who would have ever thought that we would have this little camera here in our change room that you can take to most games on a Friday, Saturday, and telecast the games?
Yeah.
How is that dynamic of social media and telecasting with these? How much is this camera here that you got?
Well, this one's a fancy one. But, I mean, it's not like out of the reach of most clubs to do what we've been doing with our broadcast this season.
We've broadcast every game. I mean, we've tried to pull them a couple of times to see the impact on our gate, and I'm being honest with that. We've had to be careful because we didn't have to broadcast our games.
No.
NPL 2, do we have to?
There's feature games every week.
Games, so
that might change, but usually not. the games don't get broadcast.
NPL 1 you do every game. So we've kind of prepared this club. Now the beauty of preparing it, and the social media platform that we have, when all of our women's games were telecast, who knows, from now to February, I dare say we might go pretty close maybe to all FE telecasts. Why? What's behind it for them? For football, for the Federation, Australia, Victoria, what's behind it for them streaming?
Well, there's revenue associated with the deal. There's I don't think I'm talking out of step here, gambling associated with it.
In some cases there is longer term. I mean, look at the AFL. I'm assuming it's highly funded by the media and by, in their case, probably gambling, betting agencies, whatever it be. But
it's also visibility and presence.
Correct.
And if people see it, you can't participate or buy into something that you don't know exists or you're not getting a feel for. And I think through streaming our games, from the NPL games, whatever, it's not the same as being at a game. It never will be. Especially with the kind of broadcast, the kind of budgets you're working with, single camera broadcast. Sometimes there are effects mics, sometimes there aren't. so you're not always going to feel the same way, but it's a taste. It's a taste for people who might then come to a game because they see the scenes on a Friday night, Preston beating Melbourne City and at Frank Holohan and the place going absolutely bananas. Those images are very powerful, and to have them live and people tuning in, reacting to it is an incredibly powerful thing.
And I keep talking, and I don't want to bore you to death, but we talk about the product and the brand. And this product and this brand and this supporter base has grown based on the strategic decision we started to make 18, 19, with Zach and I was up in Sydney with Zach this week to invest. At times where we've financially had to make some pretty cutthroat decisions on investing some money into social media, on the Lions Den Weekly, Josh, into streaming the games. But at the bottom of all those streams are our sponsors. So let's talk about revenue streams for this place to go forward. Let's be realistic. This place will not survive, wouldn't have survived, and won't survive in the future without growth in the key revenue streams. And that probably comes from sponsorship, membership, merchandise, games and events around the place. What am I missing? Am I missing anything? Gate takings. Gate takings kind of goes games and events.
And then hopefully with new leagues being in the offing, broadcast revenue.
Broadcast revenue. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know the contribution that we'll get. I'm assuming, based on some discussions, there might be some scope in terms of the fiscal modelling of the new division to look at that. But if you look at our product and our revenue streams, we must continue to deliver value for all of our sponsors, our members, our supporters who invest in here. And I say to all of them, this place is never going to get cheaper. Unfortunately, it never gets cheaper to run with the success and with our ambition. And to any supporter out there that doesn't want us to be ambitious or to drive, come and speak to me and be honest with me. But most people I speak to is, Dave, let's keep delivering this success. And with it, we need to be fiscally responsible and compliant. Dougie, Dorben, the team are always, their job is to keep me on track. And sometimes I'll go, hey, I'm a businessman at heart. How do we make money without being silly about it? But if we continue to expose the brand, 21,000 people have watched the Melbourne City game.
Which is
17,000 people had watched it in the 3 days from the event. Just put that in your heads.
And that's just the one stream. That doesn't count all the people screen recording on their phones, reposting the goal to Instagram, and those clips going absolutely bananas as well. Because that happens en masse, and that's advertising. That's free advertising.
And to our supporters, I get asked. I'm in these meetings and yes, they like Preston. They want to know about the Preston brand. But the figures, the metrics that are key to us is participation of our children, of females within the sport, and social media platforms and our reach. Our reach as supporters attending and our reach online gives us massive cut through, and longer term could be very valuable to our product because people want audiences. It's an entertainment game. We're actually in the entertainment game. We really are.
I mean, when I talked to Josh Urbina, one of our younger players in the first team squad, who's I asked him, how did you find out about Preston? What did you know coming to the club? And he mentioned he'd seen Preston games in TikToks.
Yeah,
I was thinking we have a TikTok account apparently, but
yes, we do. And most players, I've been privy to all the new player interviews, or the players, new players that we've gone about talking, and Lou talks about it to them.
Yeah.
And says, hey, can you handle this? The first thing is are you a good person? Are you a good person? Do you understand what this club stands for if you're going to represent it in front of those supporters? And if they meet that criteria, and you can hear it in the kid's voice when they're speaking, and say, hey, I want to play I want to play in front of this crowd. They're starting to understand what it means. And you get Big Sash walking into most of them now. And you can just see the kids going, all right, I better think about this. I think about this because this is a compelling proposition for us.
Yeah,
it's good.
Absolutely. A few quick fire ones before we go. NPL Juniors license came up in the Facebook comments.
Yeah. We continue to meet. We don't have any further clarity. I was in with the FE last week. I think we just need to I think on the juniors, let's just frame this from a juniors perspective. It's our key focus. It's got to be our key focus moving into 2023. With the appointment of Sasha as a football director, he has opened the doors to some very capable footballing people, whether they be at technical director level or coaching. But it's about teaching our children. His philosophy is about teaching and developing our kids at any level. And whether we have an NPL J license or not, this club will be investing next year in the development of our coaches, the teaching of our coaches, and by default, enabling them to roll that content out to our kids. So the program will continue to go from strength to strength. No different to the investment in the women's program or the men's program that we've put in the last few years. Our focus firmly shifts, and I think the appointment of Sash sends a clear message that it's a clear focus of ours, and we'll be making a fair few announcements in the next couple of months around that. But in terms of directly answering your question, I keep having conversations. There's a lot of rumours that go around. I don't deal in rumours. I'll deal in facts, and when I know the facts, the club will publish them.
And as Sash said on here a couple of weeks ago, that the NPL license isn't something we really can control too much. So we focus on improving the program, and then the license comes with it, or it doesn't. But
Correct.
it's about the end product of actually.
This is about creating, developing
footballers.
our own footballers, and not developing any super teams or teams that follow coaches around left, right, and centre, and then leave you at the drop of a coin. We want to create our own program, and this will have Preston DNA all over it, right from the heart of it, and that's the big fella's commitment to it. That was a very easy conversation. So people out there, they were, Sasha, how does he do this stuff? The bloke is passionate about this place. He's in here tonight. He's in here most nights. That's Preston people.
Yeah.
We just want people that are passionate at this place, because you won't stay. They don't have the commitment to stay and participate in the hours it takes to be at this club if you're not, don't have that in you, and we're lucky. We are super lucky, we're all injected with the madness. Come on, keep asking me.
All right.
Hard fire questions.
Traditional question about the scoreboard.
Oh, yes, the scoreboard. I think I had a nominee yesterday for the person that's probably going to dig the trench out there with me. Trust me, guys, we want that scoreboard to be lit up more than anyone. The committee probably made an executive decision halfway through the year. The problem we have is when, and I think I've said this to you, when we first built this, the power was in here. The builders took over. They removed the power over there. The power that they put in there does not cater for the amount of wattage,
whatever it is.
There. So we need to get an update on that. We need to get approval from the power provider, upscale the generation, whatever it is, to be able then to have the power dug out. Mid-year this year. So this is a project that, just so all the supporters know, it's in Louis Artiski's portfolio. It's just one of the extra things he does around the club. I think it was more important for us, the club, to forget about the scoreboard and focus on winning this league. And that was a decision that I said, Lou, just leave the scoreboard and we'll get it lit up. The scoreboard win championships. If I have to go on the old scoreboard personally and put up 1-0, 2-0 every week, as long as it's our way, we'll do it. But we're hoping once again in the off season we'll give it another crack, because it's not easy, guys. Don't think I heard the comment. Let's for goodness sake, can we get a power cord? I think the club's a bit smarter than just getting a power cord and putting it in. There is a fair bit of work, and there's an element of keeping people safe around power. And I'm not going to compromise the voltage and the amps that have to go in the scoreboard that you're on top of, which is made out of steel and frying you. So
appreciate that.
Yes, that's all right. But we'll get there. I know. Trust me. I want it lit up, but we just every year keep teasing, and one year we'll actually light it up, and we want to get it.
Maybe next year we can get some volunteers on
even Big
running on
Iggy,
treadmills.
Igor Georgievsky and Greg Jennis, who donated they understand. They understand where we're at. He's going, hey, when are we getting letting up? And he's an expert in power and he's helping us on it, So we'll get there. No, scoreboard done.
All right, cool. Attendances this year, obviously, we're the envy of a lot of clubs. Do you think we could have got more crowds, given the situation we were in with, all those backloaded games? And how do we deal, I guess, next season with the depths of winter and the inevitable drop-off that occurs?
Yeah, it's a great question, because one of the debates that's being had in the corridors of football is what kind of league to play in this new league, and debate is summer, winter. For us, starting in February, we will see fantastic turnouts. Remembering supporters that we made the decision because of the ground we have to get sign off on the ground. $400,000 of work was started in October, November. We didn't think we'd be ready for round 1. We're lucky that Geelong transferred the round 3 game. So technically we, I think, had 6 or 7 away games.
Yep.
And we still managed to win a league, which some people forget, first 11 rounds was not easy for us to travel everywhere and not have the comfort of playing at home. So we will have a full suite of games starting in February here. Next year, we are going to have some oversow, which we need to do in March to make sure we've got good grass cover in March, but that might just mean one away game extra or something like that in the first thing. That's not a major issue. But we are planning on having our games here on Fridays. We're in some discussions to maybe have alternating Friday night men, women. I'd love to have the women out here every Friday night as well. We all stay back anyway and eat and drink and stuff and support the girls and the boys. So that's something we're looking at. I saw some commentary around Sunday games, and Sunday games don't work for us as a club anymore. Even the Saturday night game we trialled, we're a Friday night specialist now. Our people love to finish the week and come out here, get in here, get a keep-up-your roll and get a Canadian club and meet their friends and have a good one. We've got too many commitments with our kids. Saturdays, Sundays, it's hard to get away from family time with your kids playing and other clubs playing. All our sister clubs around the state. As we get bigger, we love having them all here. Putting it on a Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon when everyone else is playing, it's too difficult. So we'll get through the warmth of summer. Winter, yes, we do. You'll see the messages. Is the game being live streamed for all the couch potatoes? And I've got a couple of mates that will stay at home. Can't get the passport stamped and stay at home and sitting on the couch with their jocks and not move. But we continue to grow. I think it was mid-season, one of the games. It wasn't the best. And that has huge impact on us fiscally. To all the supporters out there, we don't survive unless we can have the fiscal gate attendance. That's something we have to do. We're going to tighten up the front gate, make sure everyone's responsible coming in through there. Memberships, I think we'll probably have a target next year to increase our memberships and crack through some key targets and milestones, because we need everyone to help, be it the sponsors, be it the members, be it merch. The supporters have been brilliant this year coming through, and we've got to work on getting better with our merchandise and membership packages out, and just kits getting in earlier, which we struggled coming off the pandemic. We were pretty slow this year. I apologise for it a little bit, but it was out of our hands with India and China coming in. So we're getting cracking into that, and we'll do a better job of presenting our supporters with the options that they need. I think the kit's one thing people keep asking me about, and I get like a university degree on what colours and stuff. I mean, this was amazing this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think this was brilliant. Really proud of what we did here. I've seen the new designs. There's always debate on having a bit of yellow in our home kit. So I've seen them. The next year's kits have a bit of retro inspiration on them. Probably have a dash more yellow in them. Keep it nice and simple, but we'll get it out there, and I'm sure all the supporters will like them. We've enjoyed the grey away kits for the last few years. We'll have a look at some options, and we might even put it out there for the supporters. We like going to the supporters for them to have a bit of a say in a vote, and they voted on this one, which was a credit to all of them out there, and that also equates to sales, and sales ends up in the bottom line of our coffers to keep this club heading in the right direction. So, yeah.
Last one.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the classic thing, come up to the club president with unsolicited suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women double header, same night on a
Oh,
Friday.
I'd love to. Logistically, you can't.
Okay.
And I'll explain why. If whoever goes first goes second, the other team doesn't have enough time. Let's say it was 8:30, 6:30 to get here, to get ready, especially with some of the regional clubs. So people go, why did Ballarat play? We didn't play a Friday night because we have to, some games, make an allowance for travelling teams.
Yep.
So they're not allowed to travel, for example, Ballarat on a Friday night, I think, to certain times and stuff. So as much as we would like to, we've got to make those allowances. I couldn't think of anything better than having what time would you start hypothetically, women went first, 6:30?
Yeah, 6:30.
6:30.
8:30.
So maybe looking at some local teams, 6:30, 8:30. I even feel at times 8:30 is getting a bit late in the night.
If we did it earlier in the year in the warmer months.
Yeah, it could be. There you go. That could be an option. So we'll have a good look at that with Chris Turpos, who once again is an amazing volunteer who looks at all the fixturing and he's the FV liaison for us. But I'd like to look at that. The Ballarat game was really weird. We started at
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, and I still thought it was a Friday night game. And I looked at my watch after having a bottle of raki over there with Miss Startseski. So that's our post-game ritual. We sit down and usually we'll have a drink. And the only thing he has in his contract, and not many of the supporters will know this. So most weeks you won't even take his pay packet. But the only thing he has in his contract every year that we've been able as a club to meet to make sure he rolls over to the next year is he wants 4 weeks of Svidachi, which is the band coming out. So this year, we were able to once again do that. The boy, geez, he loves his singers. Oh, he loves his singers. It was one night there he actually brought them to his own house. He invited us a few over to his own house, and that was just 6 hours of mayhem. I think I got in trouble from my wife. I don't know. It was a big night, but anyway.
Just point to the contract.
Yeah, so it'd be ideal. I think Friday nights is for us. Obviously, away teams will dictate when we play them, but the Friday night experience for Preston Sports, it wouldn't be bad to go a little bit earlier. I get the weather, I get it gets colder, but hey guys, buy one of these jackets and let this team and this club warm your souls through the winter, because there's a lot worse places to be than at Geneseo Stadium on a Friday night with these boys getting out there and watching young Benji down the right-hand side.
The amount of autographs I've seen Benji signing after games this season.
Yeah,
Incredible.
no, just that injury. I know, and you look at it. We start thinking about it. Ruyu was out for 6 weeks, come back to play the last game. Benji, just a compression injury, cost him 3 games towards the back corner the last game, and that's why Lou builds these teams with depth and players being able to come in. And how good was Jack Bozanovsky?
Sensational.
Jack Bozanovsky, his eye popping out, black eye in the last game. If you had a close look at some of those little physical altercations on the ground during the game, there's elbows and a few of these flying around, and he didn't take a back
very
step.
physical league.
Right back, covered for Benji, centre midfield. What a discovery, and that's just, they're the memories, the girls, the boys, and the success of this year. And thank you to you, mate. Thank you to all the supporters, but thank you for the way you present our brand. It's great having an independent voice, and I use that word loosely. Independent voice as the lights go. Even the lights don't believe us. Showcasing our club, and the big question, and mate, I've signed everyone else on with you going to Channel 10 and roaming around doing your little shitty 60-second cuts that you have to wake up all night for to work. Have we got a commitment for you for next year?
Look, we're still at the negotiating table.
There's no negotiating. This is Preston, Josh. Are you in or you're out?
I'm in, mate.
Done. 2000. You got this, 23. We're on. So thank you to you, you guys for everything you do, because it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
We ride the emotion. We ride the wave of emotion. My heart palpitated all night after the Box Hill game. I don't think I got any sleep that night. It was just palpitating.
I don't think the senior men's players did either, but that was for different reasons.
So I changed my jocks.
Finally.
Jocks. Yeah, finally.
You had the superstition going.
Yeah, and I had 11 weeks. And thanks to Mrs. Cvetkovski, who'd have my the oldest jocks I've ever kept. I never worn them, and I wore them week 1 against North Sunshine. We won, and I thought, I better keep them on, and went week 2, and going, oh my God, these jocks, there's something about them. And only a few Inner Sanctum people knew about it, so I think we burn them at the old social club.
Ceremonial.
Yeah. I need to find a new pair of lucky jocks.
All right, well, that's your main task for this off-season.
But thank you to all the supporters. Get involved where you can, guys. Please come up and chat. And you know, if you get to see any of the volunteers, just say thank you, guys, to the committee, to the junior coordinators, to all the people around, you know, to Tommy P. You know, Tommy P, we all have a giggle, but, mate, to put his hand up and deliver the most amazing membership experience. He's already on to me for next year. He's going, Dave, the packs, and he's got some amazing things. To Dan Adder with the merchandise. These people have taken on roles that the big clubs in town, you know, have professional people doing.
Yeah, full-time employees.
We've got passionate professional people running great programs. So if you want to come and help, ask how you can help. And that's the fabric of this great club. So thank you to everyone out there.
And that's 2022, and that's the Lions Den. David Cvetkovski, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Enjoy.
night.
Preston, near post City. It's in. And again, Warren Spink has a hand in it. Andrew Zinni scores the goal. Not only are the fans winning on the terraces, the team are winning on the pitch. 2 goals in 2 minutes. 2-1 up, Preston Macedonia, and we've got an invasion on.
Crossfield ball for Taneski to try the spectacular. It's brilliant. Is it over the line? Yes. What a goal from Alex Taneski.
Kukuleski, Mia Kukuleski.